From disengaged to engaged, real motivation strategies that work. Psychology of classroom learning, motivating minds across all learning contexts. Group members presenting are Abby Cheeves, Anna Haddon, and Raina Michaels. This is through the University of West Georgia, CEPD 6101, summer semester 2026. Why motivation matters. Motivation affects learners, athletes, employees, and family members alike. Motivation influences effort and persistence. It also impacts achievement and performance. Motivation affects confidence and engagement. And it also helps us to have an understanding that motivation helps us support others more effectively. Throughout this course, we have the opportunity to move beyond simply reading about motivation theories and actually apply them in real-life situations. Through our Acts of Motivation projects, we explored motivation challenges involving both personal and applying them to professional experiences. As we worked through these experiences, we began to realize that motivation is much more complex than simply encouraging someone to try harder. We observed how confidence, fear of failure, personal values, environmental influences, and perceptions of success all play important roles in shaping behaviors. Our experiences involved individuals who genuinely wanted to succeed but struggled to take consistent action. By applying motivation theories and reflecting on the outcomes, we gained a deeper understanding of why people engage, persist, avoid challenges, or sometimes disengage altogether. Most importantly, these experiences helped us develop practical strategies that can be applied in classrooms, homes, athletic settings, and leadership environments. In this presentation, we will share those lessons and discuss 4 evidence-based strategies that have the potential to improve motivation and support long-term growth. Motivation is much more complex than simply encouraging someone to work harder. We have observed that behavior is influenced by several interconnected factors. First, people must believe they are capable of success. If they lack confidence or expect failure, they may avoid challenges altogether. Secondly, individuals must see value in the task. Even when someone wants a positive outcome, they may not engage in the effort that does not seem worthwhile. Third, fear of failure can significantly impact motivation by causing people to avoid situations that threaten their self-esteem. And finally, environmental influences such as relationships, classroom climate, and social comparison can either support or hinder motivation. These themes repeatedly emerge throughout our shared experiences. As educators, parents, coaches, and leaders, one of the most powerful motivation strategies we can use is shifting the focus from performance to growth. Through our study of motivation theory and our real-world application experiences, we learned that many individuals become discouraged when success is defined solely by outcomes such as grades, test scores, athletic performance, or comparisons with others. When people begin to equate their worth with performance, mistakes can feel threatening rather than instructional. Goal orientation theory provides valuable insight into this challenge. The theory suggests that individuals are more likely to persist and remain engaged when they adopt mastery goals, which emphasize learning, improvement, and skill development, rather than performance goals that focus primarily on proving ability or avoiding failure. In our own experiences, we observed that failure or fear of failure often reduced motivation and willingness to engage in challenging tasks. However, when effort, persistence, and improvement became the focus, Individuals demonstrated greater confidence and were more willing to continue working towards their goals. As motivation practitioners, this reminds us that our role is not simply to push people toward better performance. Instead, we must create conditions that help individuals view challenges as opportunities for growth. When people believe that improvements is impossible, motivation becomes more sustainable and resilient over time. For educators, specifically, this means celebrating progress, providing constructive feedback, and helping students recognize that learning is a process rather than a performance. Through our experiences, we noticed that individuals were more willing to engage when they believed that accountability could be developed through effort and practice. Rather than avoiding difficult tasks, they became more open to trying, learning, and improving over time. We also observed that small successes played an important role in building confidence. As individuals experienced progress, their belief in their ability to succeed increased. This concept is closely related to self-efficacy, which refers to a person's belief that they can successfully complete a task or achieve a goal. For educators, parents, and even academic coaches, this means that the language that we use matters. When we focus on progress, effort, and learning rather than perfection, we create conditions that promote resilience, confidence, and long-term motivation. A second strategy rooted in goal orientation theory is encouraging individuals to focus on process-oriented goals rather than outcome-oriented goals. According to Ames and other goal orientation researchers, individuals who adopt mastery goals focus on developing competence, improving skills, and learning over time. In contrast, performance goals focus primarily on demonstrating competence relative to others. When individuals become overly concerned with rankings, grades, statistics, or even comparisons, they might begin to avoid challenges that could expose weakness or lead to failure. Throughout our experiences, we have observed that process-oriented goals were especially effective because they shifted attention toward behaviors that individuals could control. Rather than focusing exclusively on outcomes, individuals focused on actions that promoted growth and improvement. For example, instead of measuring success by a final result, individuals can focus on practicing a specific skill or improving effort, applying feedback, or even making small progress. This approach reduces pressure, supports persistence, and helps individuals experience success along the journey rather than only at the finish line. As educators, this means helping students focus on learning goals and growth rather than simply pursuing grades or comparing themselves to others. As we continued applying goal orientation theory, we noticed another important influence on motivation. Even when individuals believed they could improve, they were more likely to persist when they saw personal meaning and value in what they were doing. This brings us to our third strategy, increasing task value. According to expectancy value theory, people are more likely to engage in activities when they see them as meaningful and worthwhile. One important insight from our experiences was that motivation often increased when individuals could clearly connect an activity to something they cared about, whether that was health, future goals, academic success, athletic success, or personal growth. Value played a critical role in sustaining that motivation. As educators, we should help students understand why learning matters, Connecting content to real world application, student interest, and future aspirations can significantly increase engagement and persistence. When learners understand the purpose behind a task, they are much more likely to invest effort in it. A fourth strategy is to reduce perceived barriers and costs. Many people want to achieve their goals, but they feel overwhelmed by the effort required to get started. Through our experiences, we learned that breaking large goals into smaller, manageable steps or chunking can make a significant difference in motivation. Small successes help build confidence and reduce anxiety. Teachers and others, academic coaches, can apply this strategy by chunking assignments, providing scaffolds, differentiation, and offering support when students encounter challenges. Parents and coaches alike can help by encouraging gradual progress rather than expecting immediate results. Reducing barriers makes goals feel more attainable and increases the likelihood that individuals will persist. Although our acts of motivation projects focused on personal experiences, the lessons we learned extend directly into educational practice. Through our experiences, we discovered that individuals are more likely to engage when they believe they can succeed, see value in a task, and feel supported throughout the process. As educators, these findings are especially important when working with diverse learners. Students enter our classrooms with different backgrounds, experiences, abilities, and motivational needs. For bilingual learners and multilingual learners, connecting content to real life experiences can increase relevance and engagement. For students with exceptionalities, students with different abilities, attainable goals, and structured support can strengthen confidence and persistence. Gifted learners often benefit from challenging opportunities that emphasize growth rather than simply achievement. Our experiences directly have taught us that effective motivation requires understanding individual needs while creating an environment where all learners feel capable of success. Looking back on our experiences, one of the biggest misconceptions we had about motivation was that people simply needed more encouragement or effort. What we learned instead is that motivation is often shaped by a deeper factor at hand. Sometimes people avoid challenges because they fear failure. Sometimes they do not see enough value in the task. Other times they lack confidence or feel overwhelmed by obstacles. These experiences helped us understand that effective motivation requires identifying the underlying cause of the disengagement. Once we understand why someone is struggling, we can choose strategies that address the real problem rather than simply encouraging them to work harder. Taking on the role of an expert motivation psychologist in our field of education and teaching, and based on our personal experiences, research, and course learnings, we recommend 4 evidence-based strategies for anyone working with the individuals experiencing motivation challenges. This is our call to action. First, focus on growth rather than performance. Second, encourage process-oriented goals that emphasize effort and improvement. Third, help people see the value and purpose of what they are doing. And finally, reduce barriers that make success feel difficult or overwhelming. These strategies were successful in our own experiences because they address the underlying causes of disengagement rather than simply focusing on behavior. As educators, parents, coaches, academic coaches, and leaders, we have the opportunity to create environments that support confidence, persistence, and meaningful, authentic growth. We encourage you to try these strategies in your own practice and observe how motivation changes when individuals feel capable, valued, and supported.